So Jed, you and I started in the industry about the same time, and in those days there were very limited selection of vendors, and there were some really that were must-haves, including Nielsen. So using your Nielsen background and fast forwarding to where you are now, with all the vendors you use, where is Nielsen's place in that constellation?
Nielsen is the largest research company in the world, and I think they're a trusted partner of ours, and we value a lot of the work that they do. My hope is that they continue to evolve and improve their product, and not just on the sort of shiny object space of the new stuff, but also with their core product. The TV measurement samples in the U.S., the national people meter sample, and the local market samples, because we still use that data every day and transact a lot of business on that. So that's a very valuable component of what we do. But going forward, my hope is that technology trends change that a little bit and give us a few new sources of information where we're not as reliant on just one provider of data. And so part of the Analytic vision is taking data from lots of different sources and cleaning and normalizing that data, and then adding it, appending it to different things that we're doing, using it in models that we're creating, using it in data visualization tools for our clients. And that's why I was so excited to join Analytic, because I think the vision that Scott has about where Analytic's going is spot on. And I think Nielsen will continue to be a partner for us, I would imagine, for many years, but lots of other companies too, like ComScore, GFK, Kantar, and others, where they have good research and they have valuable things that they can bring to the table, and we integrate those pieces of research into our total sort of understanding of either the consumer, because everything begins with the consumer, or with the campaign in terms of what we're doing and what we're stewarding for our clients.
How do you think the industry will be impacted by Nielsen's acquisition of Arbitron?
It'd be interesting to see. They've moved very quickly, and in terms of, I think the deal only closed about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they've been moving very quickly, which I think is great for Nielsen in terms of, I'm sure, what their objectives are for the merger. As a client, and I've said this quite publicly, the things that I'm looking for are just a continued reinvestment in the core products. And so to me, and I brought this up in a number of different forums, yes, we all need new shiny objects of new products and new services that are offered, but to me it's really important that Nielsen also improves the core panels that they offer, whether it's the National People Meter Service, whether it's the Arbitron PPM services, and I'm looking for reinvestment in those products, expanded sample sizes, new measurement techniques, because that is still how a lot of business is transacted. So I'm optimistic that I hope that Nielsen executes and executes in terms of what their plan is for them. But as a client, I'd like to see some reinvestment. I'd like to see some new things that they can bring to us, whether it's tools, whether it's the size of the panels. And I think if they do that, then then it's a win-win for both sides. They get to hit their objectives, and we as clients benefit from having better products in the marketplace.
How much do you rely on set-top box data, and where do you think that's going?
Well, that's a question near and dear to my heart, Charlene. Doing Digital Plus almost, 6 or 7 years ago at Nielsen, and then also managing the joint venture in China, I think there's a huge opportunity in set-top box data. The problem with it is that it's incomplete. And so, to me, I think the opportunity still exists out there. Unfortunately, Canoe happened and didn't gain traction in the marketplace. RentTrack has some promising products, but it's an incomplete body of work in terms of they don't have all the providers, and so the representativeness of that, I would say, still leaves something to be desired. Kantar's got some tools in that area. TRA's got some tools in that area. I think there's a lot of promise with that data, and I'm hopeful that as things get more digital and as more and more cable companies provide a return path element, as they move to IPTV, that there's more data that can be collected in that process. Because I think in the future, just with the fragmentation of the world that we're looking at, you can't rely exclusively on a very small panel. I think panels are part of the solution, and clearly from a demography point of view and an overall market, okay, I think there's a lot of value to that. But to me, the future is something that's hybrid, which is some combination of panels and some server-side measurement, whether it's set-top box data, whether it's mobile information, whether it's information from apps. There's lots of different vehicles where there is data that's collected. And part of what we want to do at Analytic is integrate some of that together and bring those disparate pieces together.
I agree with you about the need for some kind of targeting, whether it's a panel or some kind of data matching, data fusion. Do you think, sitting now at the agency side, that the future will still be gender and age buying, or are we getting more into behavioral and purchasing? What is your opinion?
It's kind of both. I think a lot of what we transact business on today is still age and gender. And that's a commonality that we can use across media types. So there is a comfort level for a lot of people that they can use age gender for digital, or they can use it for TV or radio or print or anything else that comes down the pike. So I think there will be age and gender for some foreseeable future. That having been said, digital gives you the ability to target on such a much more precise level that, to me, that genie's out of the can, and it's there, and we use it all the time, and I think that that's clearly where the marketplace is moving. But I don't think it's an either or. I think it can be both. And then as you look at what programmatic's doing in the marketplace and the fact that you're bidding based on a specific audience, I think again that's, to me, where the market is moving. But I'm not a great prognosticator for where markets move. When I left local broadcast in the mid-90s, I thought, wow, how much longer are there going to be TV stations? And look, TV stations are still a good business. They're still a very profitable business. You see consolidation in that industry. A lot of deals happening this year in the TV station industry. So I thought local cable was the future because of all the technology that they were rolling out back in the time. At that stage, they were rolling out more channels. They were rolling out things like DVRs and video on demand, which now is a mass phenomenon, but 10 or 15 years ago was in the earlier stages. So to me, I'm really not an either or. I'm more of a both person, and so I think, back to your question, it's really a combination of both age, gender, and the behavioral stuff.